They're keeping him off his feet. There was some sort of a rumor out there that they're concerned about potential stress fractures that could be caused by running, which could occur anyway, I suppose. And in any case, Trent Richardson's denied all of this and gone on record himself saying, look, I'm going to be ready to go on day one. And you know what? If they hold him out until the beginning of training camp, which in their case is July 26th, who cares? This is their workhorse running back. This is the guy that you're going to expect to get over 300 touches on the ball. This is the guy who's going to get over 1,500 yards, all-purpose yards in the offense. And this is the guy that you're expecting 10 to 15 touchdowns from. And because of that, he deserves the time off as far as I'm concerned. So for now, I think it's worth monitoring, but I think he should be okay.
With the Browns' suspect line, I don't remember hearing about them hitting any big names in free agency or in even the draft. What I'm looking at is the only offensive lineman they drafted was a 7th rounder. So Richardson's health is imperative, and I understand, holding him out through the OTAs and everything, but training camp, I think he has to hit the ground running, no?
If I understand you, Steve, it might be a little late for you. I'm sorry, Keith. Try that one more time.
I didn't understand a word he said either. So.
Really? Wow. Okay.
Mouthful of marbles, Keith. Mouthful of marbles.
Really?
Just one more time,
Seriously?
buddy.
Sorry, it's okay. I don't have any pride. I said with the Browns line being as suspect as it was, looking at the draft picks, I don't see an offensive lineman being taken other than the 7th rounder, Gilkey, out of Chadron State, nonetheless. And I don't remember them making a big splash in free agency with any offensive lineman. So I would think that he would have to hit the ground running in training camp. No pun intended. Again.
I'm just not as worried about that. He's gonna do what the line gives him and what he can individually do. And he had basically the same offensive line last year and was still able to produce roughly 1,500 all-purpose yards and what did I say? 10 touchdowns, I believe he posted. So he's doing what a workhorse should be doing. I don't have that as one of their top needs. I think their offensive line is fine. They had other greater needs outside of the offensive line, such as linebacker, cornerback, defensive end, and they addressed those things. And, I'm expecting them to be a better team, but relatively speaking, it's really hard right now to compare them to the Steelers or the Ravens, who look like they're still going to dominate the division.
What do you think? You think this is the year Brandon Whedon takes a step forward, or we all jump off that train, including...
Well, it has to be a year that he steps forward. Even if it's not in the win-loss column, it has to be at least a statistical year that he steps forward. With Norv Turner being the offensive coordinator, one thing that everybody has to understand out there is you expect the quarterback position to dominate the offense, you expect the running back position to dominate the offense, and you expect the tight end position to dominate the offense. So those three positions are very key in this offense. So Whedon's going to be the guy, Trent Richardson's going to be the guy, and so is Jordan Cameron, who he's a guy that I think it was today he was spotted on the sideline. It sounds like he pulled his hamstring, so a little bit concerned of that. Otherwise, the reports out of camp have been positive about him. He's been snatching the ball out of the air and doing a good job, so I'm kind of excited to get a little bit, get a look at him and hopefully be able to recommend him for fantasy football.
Mm-hmm. All right, staying in the Midwest, turning our attention to the Packers, a kind of a minor story, but Johnny Jolly returns to attempt to bolster that defensive line. He's been away in prison the last couple of years. Is this kind of, well, yeah, he's our guy, so we got to bring him in anyway, or are they really going to be counting on Johnny Jolly to be his incarcerated self?
We're talking Packers, too? Okay.
Yeah, I know. Really, I could care less, honestly. They could start 5 guys total. I don't care, but...
Here's who they got in their starting lineup. B.J. Raji, Ryan Pickett, and Datone Jones. That's going to be the starting 3 guys. Mm-hmm. Everybody else is going to be depth, including Johnny Jolly. I wouldn't, I mean, if the guy's been in jail, it's going to take him a little bit of time to get reacclimated. But there's so much depth on the Packers that, if he's going to get his shot, he's going to get his shot because people are getting hurt and the people ahead of him aren't doing their jobs.
I just remember before the whole legal mess that he got in, he was a disruptive force on the interior line. But as with all Packers, I was happy to see him go.
No, absolutely. And I don't foresee him doing much this season. Like they said, there's a lot of depth, and missing missing the time he's missed, and then trying to get back into the swing of things. Like I've seen some videos of him, and he seems like he is not anywhere near shape that he needs to be in. So if he gets anywhere near the field on a regular basis during the regular season, I would be very surprised.
You know what? I'm sure the Packers re-signed him and brought him back in. Number one, they probably had the rights to him first. They probably got him back favorably. And you know what? They know the guy. So regardless of what happened, there's got to be some sort of a comfort level to bring him back in after all he's been through.
Yeah, and hasn't Raji, he's had some injury issues the last couple years. So I wouldn't be surprised if they also brought him in just for that. Hey, in case something goes on with Raji, you never know.
Yeah, so it's always good to have insurance, especially in that position.
Yeah, absolutely.
So now shifting our attention to the Dallas Cowboys, where it just seems like this. You want to talk about a team where the owner should just go own, okay? Because now you just sit in the box and just smile when the camera's on you, and just say how much you love your team, and then get the hell out of the way. Because what's happening now is that everyone's trying to guess. They asked him who's going to call the plays, whether it's going to be offensive coordinator Bill Callahan or whether Jason Garrett, the head coach, is going to retain those duties. And he gave this kind of cryptic answer, I don't want to say, but if you watch the way things are going in training camp, you can kind of get an indication of the way things are going. Well, or when you watch the OTAs, Bill Callahan's giving all the signals to the quarterbacks, and Jason Garrett's on the sideline. So now everyone's saying, oh, Bill Callahan's going to call the plays, oh, Jason Garrett's getting stripped of responsibilities, and it may be nothing, but is this the first step of Bill Callahan eventually becoming the head coach of the Dallas Cowboys?
Absolutely. Thinking back to the Senior Bowl practices that I went to, there just seemed to be something amiss with the Cowboys in terms of Jason Garrett. And you kind of saw it the last couple of seasons. I mean, he seemed to struggle in his play calling. He seemed to make mistakes. I don't know if part of it is being second-guessed by other people, and it just kind of creeps up on you and the team. But, Jerry, you pointed out, Jerry Jones runs the Dallas Cowboys as much as I'm sure he wouldn't admit to it, and the coaches would deny it. The reality is that he does. And brought in his own people from Monty Kiffin on down. And when Jason Garrett, he was offensive coordinator up until I think it was 2010. He's been the head coach since. So when you take the guy that's been calling the plays for the past 5-6 years, take that all away from him, what's there for him to do at this point?
Mm-hmm.
It shouldn't be his job as a head coach, but it has been. And it always seems to be when Jerry Jones makes some sort of change like this that the writing's on the wall. If the Cowboys struggle this year, it seems to me Jason Garrett's the guy to go. Monty Kiffin will get another year, and Callahan will get a shot to be the head coach.
Jerry Jones was Oklahoma, right? He went to Oklahoma, him and Jimmy Johnson.
I think so, but I'm not positive of that. I'm
trying to follow the dots here because Bill Callahan's last position was head coach of Oklahoma, and that didn't go all too well. But
the issue with the Cowboys has been Jerry Jones is a guy that loves to make the splashy draft pick, loves to market the team. I think he genuinely believes, look, I'll never get at every position the best players, so I need a few stars to fill these seats, and the rest of it is just coaching up players. And I don't necessarily think that there's anything wrong with that philosophy. However, when you're in a position to actually make an impact on your team, and even if it means drafting some guys that aren't, no one's going to run out to the stadium to see the game just because of them, I think you have to do it. And the Cowboys sort of did something in the draft this year, which, they had to do, and that was draft a non-sexy offensive lineman like Travis Frederick, the number 1 rated center. But then, they didn't follow that up and draft one more guy for their offensive line.
Mm.
They ended up, the last month or so, we've been talking about Doug Free and him redoing his contract in order to keep his job, and he's staying at right tackle. And this is an offensive line that, while not giving up, the most sacks in the NFL, Tony Romo has been running for his life the last few seasons. So for all the naysayers out there about Tony Romo, here's a guy that's, he's got a lot of wherewithal. He is one of the most consistent quarterbacks out there statistically, and I know he's had some bad games, but he still ends up being consistent come the end of the season. So he's not the guy to blame. And, if you want to look around, you want to say, well, if he needs offensive linemen, go get him. Mm. And if that's Jerry Jones' job, or at least it certainly feels and seems like it, then he's the guy to blame.
And as a Des Bryant fantasy owner, I pray that they figure it out.
Oh, my God, I love Des Bryant. I had him last year. He was awesome.
Yeah,
awesome.
He was.
As a Miles Austin fantasy owner, I hope Des Bryant breaks his ankle. I'm just throwing that out there.
This is me with my 4 championships talking to.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, okay, anyway.
Getting back to the Callahan thing, I just thought of something. Wouldn't it be only right for Dallas to, if they do make Callahan their head coach, the only other time he was a head coach in the NFL, his players accused him of sabotaging not only a Super Bowl, but then the following season because he hated the organization. It's only right that Dallas would find somebody who has that kind of those skeletons in his closet. You know what I mean?
It's just there's always seems to be something about Callahan that somebody doesn't like somewhere.
Yeah. It's just weird. They always seem to find that one person that has something that the media can kind of cling on to and always ask in interviews with Jerry Jones and whatnot. It's amazing. It's kind of like a smaller, less effed up version of the Jets.
Whoa! Nobody's approaching that tire fire.
Tire fire, nice.
You like that?
I like that.
It rages out of control, produces black smoke, and it's impossible to put out. That's a tire fire.
It's like our show.
Yes. Tonight it is. Whoa. Anyway.
Nice.
So, a couple real quick. The Bears are bringing in Jamarcus Russell on Friday. Obviously, they don't feel comfortable with Josh McCown as the backup. Now, the bright spot of this is that it sparked a good Twitter conversation this morning, which brought up the name Jared Lorenzen, the hefty lefty, the Pillsbury throw boy. Because I asked if he was under 300 pounds. And I guess according to Jeff Garcia, who's been working with him, he's in the 265 range, which for him is downright slender.
That's too bad because we probably could have found a place for him on the offensive line.
Or is one of the new middle linebackers.
Linebackers,
yeah, absolutely. Can he backpedal?
I don't think he can backpedal. That's the problem.
Are you expecting anything out of this? Or the first question, are you expecting anything out of this? And secondly, do you think Jamarcus Russell finds a job before Tim Tebow?
Okay. It's a 2-part question. Let me give you a 2-part answer. All right. When I first heard this, I thought to myself, what? Why are the Bears bringing in, Jamarcus Russell? And everybody is so quick to sort of key in on that name and sort of, the anger and the disappointment and the angst. Throw as many words out there as you'd like about how it makes you feel, but it just kind of makes you cringe and you're thinking, is this Mark Trestman guy crazy? And, it's not just Jamarcus Russell, it's Trent Edwards, and it's Jordan Palmer.